What would you do if a 6-year-old girl paid for your coffee and you suddenly realized she might be your missing daughter? Andrew Foster, a billionaire known for his cold logic and spotless control, wasn't the kind of man who lost sleep over small things. But one rainy morning in a crowded Chicago cafe, a child with green eyes, a handful of crumpled bills, and a name he hadn't spoken in years shattered everything he thought he knew. Her name was Emma, the same name he and his late wife had chosen for the baby who never came home, and the way she scrunched her nose when thinking, just like Catherine. What started as a simple act of kindness became the unraveling of a secret buried for 7 years, a stolen identity, a forged past, and a web of lies spun by one of the most powerful political figures in the country, a man with everything to lose if the truth ever surfaced. But Andrew wasn't going to walk away this time, because sometimes fate doesn't knock. It whispers through the eyes of a child. Stay with us. What you're about to discover will break your heart, and then piece it back together in a way you never expected. It all started with a malfunctioning credit card. "Sir, I'm really sorry. Your card was declined again?" The cashier at Lakeview Coffee House said politely, though her eyes darted nervously at the long line behind him. Andrew Foster, Millionaire'S CEO, a man used to commanding boardrooms and bending contracts, stared at his sleek black Amex as if it had personally betrayed him. That card was connected to an account with more zeros than most people ever dreamed of. He checked his phone. Banking system outage. All transactions temporarily suspended. He sighed, then looked up. "Could you try it one more time?" "I already did. 3 times. Cash." He opened his wallet. Empty. A single dry cleaning receipt. Nothing more. That's when he heard the smallest voice behind him. "I'll pay for your coffee, mister." He turned. There she was, no taller than the cafe counter, 2 braids dangling from under a pink knit hat. She looked up at him with large, impossibly green eyes and a handful of crumpled dollar bills. Andrew blinked. "That's very kind of you," he said, kneeling to her level. "But I can't accept money from a lady who probably still shops at the dollar store." "My mom says we help people when they look sad," the girl replied seriously. "You look sad." Laughter rippled through the cafe. The cashier smiled. A man in line gave Andrew a thumbs up. "What's your name?" Andrew asked, more curious than amused now. "Emma. Emma Rivers. I'm 6. And I was gonna buy a chocolate muffin, 'cause I was good all week. But I can share." A cold shiver danced down Andrew's spine. Emma. That name, those eyes. The same name he and Catherine had chosen for the baby he'd never met. "Okay, Emma," he said slowly, trying to steady his voice. "Let's make a deal. I'll let you buy my coffee if I can buy you that muffin. Sound fair?" Her eyes lit up like fireworks. "Deal." They went up to the counter together. Emma proudly handed over $6 in crumpled bills, enough for his coffee, her muffin, and on Andrew's suggestion, a fresh orange juice for her too. As they waited, he watched her tap her shoes against the tile, hum softly to herself, and twist her braids like it was a nervous tick. "Do you live nearby?" he asked. "Uh-huh. With my mom, Veronica. She works at Mama Rosa's diner. I help her sometimes, but only with napkins. I'm not allowed near the stove." A warm chuckle escaped him, but it was cut short by her next question. "Do you have kids?" The words landed like a punch to the gut. Andrew hesitated. "No, I don't." "Oh," she said, a little sad. "You'd be a good dad." He swallowed hard. "Why do you think that?" "Because you let me help. Some grown-ups don't let kids do anything, but you did. And you're buying me a muffin. Good dads do stuff like that." When their order came, she held her juice like it was champagne and whispered, "Thank you, Mr. Andrew." Then she turned to leave but paused at the door. "I forgot something," she said, returning with a serious expression. "My mom says when someone helps you, you should help someone else. That way the world gets better." Andrew watched her skip out into the rainy Chicago afternoon, hopping over puddles like a ballerina. He stood frozen. Those green eyes, the way she scrunched her nose when she thought, the hands, even her walk. It was all Catherine. Catherine Beltran, the woman who disappeared 7 years ago, pregnant, and never came back. That night, Andrew didn't sleep, not even a second. He couldn't shake the feeling. Was it just coincidence? Was it guilt? Was it Something more. The next morning, he asked around the neighborhood until someone pointed him to Mama Rosa's diner on West 45th Street. A small, busy place with checkered tablecloths and the scent of fresh coffee and fried eggs. He walked in at noon. Behind the counter, a woman's slim, mid-30s ponytail was ladling soup into bowls. Efficient, fast, focused. But when she looked up and saw him, her hand trembled. Just for a second. "Can I help you?" she asked, trying to steady her voice. "You're Veronica Morales." She stiffened. "Who's asking?" "My name is Andrew Foster. I met your daughter Emma the other day at the cafe. She helped me out. I just wanted to thank you both." Her eyes narrowed. "That's not necessary. Emma likes helping people. That's just who she is. Can I take you both out to lunch sometime?" "No," she replied instantly. Too quickly. Too coldly. He nodded slowly. "Okay. No pressure." Andrew ordered the lunch. Special watched her from across the room. Something in her face nagged at his memory. And still no sleep that night. Just that name echoing in his skull. Emma. The next morning, he called an old friend from med school, now a PI. "Robert, I need you to find out everything about a woman named Veronica Morales. Works at Mama Rosa's diner. There's something off, and I need to know if I'm not going crazy." 3 days later, Robert came back with files. And one chilling statement. "Andrew, her name isn't Veronica Morales. It's a stolen identity. The real Veronica died 7 years ago." Andrew sat back, heart racing. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying this woman, whoever she is, started using that name the day Catherine Beltran disappeared, and the girl, no birth certificate, no hospital record. It's like she appeared out of thin air." Andrew closed the file. Everything was spinning. He had to know the truth, no matter the cost. But before he could take his next step, a message appeared on his phone. "Stop looking. You're being watched." Attached was a grainy photo. Emma on the sidewalk, walking to school, alone. We're so sorry to pause the story right here, especially when things are getting intense. But do you think Emma is really Andrew's daughter? Should Andrew confront Veronica directly or wait until he has more proof? If you're feeling the suspense like we are, please give this video a like and show some love. Your support helps us bring more powerful stories like this to life. There are moments when instinct speaks louder than reason, and Andrew Foster was no longer listening to logic. The photo of Emma captured from a distance had shaken him to his core, not because of what it showed, but because of what it threatened. Someone was watching her. Someone knew he was digging, and they didn't want him to get closer. He showed the image to Robert that night. The private investigator narrowed his eyes. "This isn't just a warning, it's a leash. Someone powerful wants to keep this buried." "Well," Andrew replied coldly, "they picked the wrong man to threaten." By dawn, Andrew was parked 2 blocks from Mama Rosa's diner. He waited until the lunch rush passed, then watched from his car as Veronica Morales walked out the back, tying her apron around her waist. He followed, from a distance. She stopped at a small elementary school to pick up Emma, who greeted her with a squeal and a running hug. They laughed, walked hand in hand. And it hurt, not because it was fake, because it looked real. Andrew tailed them to a modest house with chipped paint and a crooked mailbox. He stayed parked across the street until well past sunset, unable to shake the weight pressing on his chest. That night, Andrew made a decision. He would confront her not as a stranger, but as a father. The next morning, he knocked on her front door. Hard. Veronica answered, her eyes sharp, her body tense. She didn't look surprised. "You need to leave," she said immediately. "Not until we talk. I'm not here to hurt you. I just want answers." Before she could reply, a small voice called out from inside. "Mommy, is it Mr. Andrew?" Veronica's jaw clenched. She stepped outside and pulled the door nearly shut behind her. "You're scaring her," she hissed. "I'm not the one hiding," Andrew shot back. For a moment, they just stared. Finally, Veronica looked away. Her shoulders dropped. "Come back tonight, when she's asleep." Hours later, they sat across from each other in a dimly lit living room. Emma was tucked in, unaware the world she knew was about to shift. Andrew didn't waste time. "Is she my daughter?" Veronica flinched as if struck, then slowly, almost imperceptibly nodded. "Yes." His heart lurched. 7 years of emptiness came rushing back in one single breath. "Where's Catherine?" Veronica's eyes filled. "She died in childbirth. No one knew, no funeral, no announcement." She made me promise to keep the baby hidden. From me, she thought you were dangerous, that you'd take the baby. Her father poisoned her against you. Senator Jonathan Beltran twisted everything. Andrew's hands balled into fists. That man, she wrote me a letter, Veronica interrupted. She rose, left the room, and returned with a weathered envelope. She said she wasn't sure who to trust, but she begged me to protect Emma from her father and from you. Andrew read the letter silently. He recognized Catherine's handwriting. Every loop, every comma. It wasn't anger in her words, it was fear, paranoia, confusion. She was sick, Veronica whispered. Postpartum depression, anxiety. She was already unraveling before she gave birth. And her father, he exploited it. Andrew sat back stunned. You let me believe she ran away. I had to. Catherine asked me to disappear, to keep Emma safe. I was scared too. Senator Beltran was watching everything. He stared at the letter again. Does he know? Veronica nodded slowly. I think he does now. The doorbell rang. They froze. 3 sharp knocks followed. Veronica stood cautiously and peeked through the curtain. Her face drained of color. It's CPS, she whispered, with a detective. Andrew's blood ran cold. Open the door, he said. But let me talk. Inside, Lucy Perez, a CPS agent, and Detective George Ramirez introduced themselves and asked to verify Emma's documents. They claimed an anonymous report had been made regarding her legal guardianship. Veronica retrieved the forged birth certificate. The detective looked over it, then turned to Andrew. Who are you, sir? I'm Andrew Foster, Emma's biological father. Silence filled the room. Lucy raised a brow. Do you have proof I'm married to Catherine Beltran, Emma's biological mother? We have a pending paternity test, and I'm prepared to take full custody if needed. Veronica looked at him in shock. You'd do that, she whispered. Yes, and I'd do something else too. Marry you? She blinked. What if we marry? No one can claim Emma is in unsafe custody. No one can split us apart, not even Beltran. Before she could answer, Emma walked out from the hallway, sleepy-eyed. Mommy, what's happening? Veronica ran to her, knelt down and hugged her tightly. Nothing bad, sweetheart. We're just making sure everything's okay. Lucy watched the scene with softened eyes, then turned back to her clipboard. We'll return in a week, pending verification. When they left, Veronica closed the door, locked it, and looked at Andrew with tears glistening. You'd really marry me, just to protect her? No, Andrew said gently. I'd marry you because I already trust you with what matters most. And for the first time in 7 years, Veronica allowed herself to hope. We're sorry to leave you at this cliffhanger, but it's only the beginning of what's coming next. Tell us, should Veronica accept Andrew's proposal for protection or for love? Do you think Senator Beltran will strike again, and how far would he go? If you're moved by this journey so far, please like this video and show your support. Your engagement helps us share more stories that truly touch the heart. See you in part 3. The question lingered in the quiet living room, heavy with unspoken emotion. You'd really marry me? To protect Emma? Veronica asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Andrew looked her in the eye. Not just to protect her, because I've seen the way you love her. Because somewhere between suspicion and truth, I started to admire you. And maybe even more than that. Veronica was silent for a long moment. Then slowly a tear slipped down her cheek and she nodded. Okay, let's do it. Let's protect her. Together. The next few days moved like a storm. Paperwork, paternity confirmations, and most importantly, a quiet civil wedding, just the 3 of them and a witness. Emma wore a flower crown and twirled like a princess, unaware of the legal hurricane brewing just beyond their small safe circle. But the storm wasn't over. The morning after their wedding, Andrew's lawyer, Dr. Michael Jennings, called with grave urgency. Andrew, he's doing it. Senator Beltran is making his move. What now? Andrew asked, already bracing for the worst. He's hosting a televised press event tonight at the Grand Plaza Hotel, framing himself as a grieving grandfather who just reunited with his long-lost granddaughter. He's bought media coverage, printed banners, and yes, he has pictures of Emma. Andrew's grip tightened around the phone. He's turning her into a political prop. He's spinning the story, Andrew. He's saying Veronica kidnapped Emma, that you're unstable, that he's fighting for custody out of love for his daughter's child. Andrew didn't hesitate. Then we fight back. With the truth. Veronica listened pale and shaking as Andrew explained the plan. We have the documents, the letter, Catherine's medical records, even her psychologist is willing to testify. You want to expose everything on live TV, it's the only way to stop him. Not just for Emma, but for Catherine. The world deserves to know what he did. That evening, the ballroom at the Grand Plaza Hotel gleamed with polished marble and artificial smiles. Cameras flashed, politicians mingled, and Senator Beltran stood tall at the podium, charming, poised, and utterly deceitful. Ladies and gentlemen, he began after years of heartbreak. I'm thrilled to announce that my beloved granddaughter Emma has been found. We are reunited at last. The audience applauded, and then the doors opened. Andrew walked in holding Emma's hand. Veronica followed closely behind, face calm but eyes blazing. The crowd turned stunned. Beltran faltered. Andrew, what are you? You don't speak for her, Andrew said, voice steady. You never have. Beltran tried to recover. I'm only doing what's right for my granddaughter, right? Veronica stepped forward. Was it right when you told your daughter she couldn't trust the father of her child? Was it right when you manipulated a scared pregnant woman until she ran and died alone? Gasps rippled through the crowd. Reporters leaned in. Dr. Jennings took the stage and held up a folder. We have documented proof, medical records, psychological evaluations, a handwritten letter from Catherine Beltran herself. Would you like us to read it? Senator Beltran paled. This is slander, lies. We also have a statement from Catherine's therapist, Jennings continued. She describes years of trauma, fear, manipulation, and abuse. Silence fell like a hammer. Emma, sensing the tension, clutched Veronica's hand tightly. Mommy, it's okay, baby, Veronica whispered. You're safe. Beltran made a final attempt to speak, but the cameras had already turned away. The narrative had shifted. The truth had found its voice. The next morning, every major outlet ran the headline, Senator Beltran accused of abuse and coercion by daughter's family withdraws from campaign amid scandal. And just like that, the shadow hanging over them began to lift. Weeks later, the house was filled with the scent of cinnamon and laughter. Veronica stirred pancake batter while Emma set the table, chattering about her science fair project. Andrew poured coffee, smiling at the scene that now felt natural, real. They had weathered a storm built on lies, fear, and power, but love, quiet, stubborn, and resilient, had carried them through. That Saturday, they visited Lakeview Coffee House. It had become something of a sacred place, the place where everything began. While waiting in line, Emma noticed a tired woman struggling to calm a crying baby. She gently tugged Andrew's sleeve. Dad, can I pay for her coffee? He smiled. Of course. Emma stepped forward with her tiny purse. You look like you've had a hard day. Let me help. The woman blinked in surprise, then smiled through tears. Thank you, sweetheart. I don't even know what to say. You don't have to say anything. My mom says when you help someone, the good spreads. Like sunlight. As they sat by the window watching the city move around them, Andrew reached across the table and took Veronica's hand. I don't know what we would have become if that little girl hadn't offered to buy me coffee, he said. Veronica squeezed his hand. I think we were meant to find each other. The long way. Emma leaned in, muffin crumbs on her lips. And now we're a team, right? The best team, Andrew said. Forever. As the light filtered in through the glass, their shadows merged on the table, a quiet, perfect symbol of a family that had formed not by blood alone, but by courage, choice, and something deeper than fate. Now, before we say goodbye, we want to hear from you. Do you believe that love, even when born from pain, can truly heal everything? Should Emma eventually know everything about her real mother and the legacy she left behind? We'd love to know what you think of this story. If it moved you, please comment number 3 below. Comment number 1 if you weren't satisfied, and number 2 if it was just okay. Also, tell us what country are you watching from. And finally, don't forget to send a heart and share this video with someone who believes in second chances and the quiet power of kindness. Thank you for being here with us.